depart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
This Gospel reading about Jesus and his extended family provides us a good opportunity to speak about something that affects all of us, and that is family members or loved ones who have, for one reason or another, strayed from the faith. And this does affect all of us. Statistically speaking, for every one person that joins the church, 6.5 depart from it. And I include myself in this. And also, as a pastor who entrusted with the care of souls, I know the pain of watching people leave the fold. And the reason why it is painful for us, or one of the reasons why, is that the church is not a club. It's not something that you join for a while and then quit or try another one. It is the mystical body of Christ. It is what Jesus Christ instituted for the salvation of the human race. And there's an image for this in the Old Testament, in the book of Joshua. I don't know if you've read that recently. The Israelites had made their way through the deserts, and now they were conquering the land of Canaan, the land of promise. Joshua was their military leader. They had conquered a few towns, and now they set their sights on Jericho. So they sent 2 spies into Jericho, and the whole town was terrified because they knew that they were next. And so they heard that there were spies in their town, and they went looking for them. Well, the spies made their way to the house of Rahab the harlot, and she hid them in her house and told the people that that she had not seen them. And then they make their escape. But before they do, she says, "When you conquer our town, spare my family." And they tell her, "When we come to conquer your town, gather all your family together in your house and take this red cord and tie it around your window so that we know not to go into this house. And if anyone steps foot outside of the house, we are not responsible for what happens to them." And if you want the details of what happened next, you have to read the book. But needless to say, it's not very pretty. But the family of Rahab and those who were in her house survived. And so it is obviously a little bit more complex than that, but in general, we should say that it's not a good idea to take leave of the church, to abandon the bride of Christ. It is perilous to our salvation, and our salvation is the most important affair of our lives. But we don't always take it so seriously. If we were at work and someone told us, "You're not doing a very good job," we would listen to them. We'd probably change our ways. But when someone tells us, "You're not taking care of your salvation very well," then we get annoyed and we say, "Stop bothering me. I don't want to hear that." But Jesus asks the question, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul? And we know it's approximately nothing, because if the soul is lost, all is lost. So it is important that membership in the church is something that we are faithful to. So what can we do for our loved ones and family members? Well, we can imitate the faith and persevering prayer of St. Monica, who for 20 years prayed unceasingly for her son Augustine to abandon his way of sin and error. She followed the advice of St. Ambrose, the bishop, who told her, speak less to Augustine about God and more to God about Augustine, to pray for him, to offer sacrifices, fasting and the like, because faith is a gift, and it is a grace that we should ask God for those whom we love. In addition to prayer, of course, we have our loving support and our words to people, which are very invaluable. But we have to recognize our limitations, and that's where the gospel really comes in, because we see that this is probably the biggest failure of Jesus' entire ministry. when he goes back to his hometown. And the place where he was, Nazareth, was very tiny. Someone said that it was 5 acres in size. And there was probably about 500 people there. So, of course, they all knew each other, and they all knew each other's business. And what we hear is that even Jesus cannot compel people to accept his message. And, the familiarity of that place for him and those people to him, they probably were thinking about Jesus. This guy is getting a little too big for his britches, or maybe he's forgot where he came from. And so he only works a few healings because of their lack of faith. But even when people fail, Jesus does not fail the people. And so we learn from this that family is sometimes too close to make the right kind of impression on another person, to call them back to the practice of the faith. So it usually takes someone else besides a family member. That's why it's important for us to decide that we are going to be somebody's someone else, if that makes sense. So we can reach out to other people's family members to actually make a difference in their life. And we can speak to them the truth. We can get them to pray, to ask for the gift of faith. We could invite them to pray the rosary, to break the grip of sin and evil in their life. And when we do this, we can do it with gentleness, since our words must fall on the heart like a gentle rain upon the earth, since, as we know, it is the quiet, slow rain that sinks in and brings moisture to the soil. A violent, sudden downpour only breaks the surface of the ground and rushes away. So when we try to reach people, we need to have the gentle and long approach. And this is a very important work, because nothing honors Jesus more than bringing back to him the souls that he has redeemed and who have gone astray. He has purchased their lives, their salvation, with every last drop of his blood. And so he loves them, and this honors him quite a bit. And the theologians tell us that the conversion of one soul is a greater good than all of the physical creation, because eventually, even if it's a long time from now, everything that we see will be swallowed up in fire except our immortal souls. And so we should engage in this. And if we're kind of like, well, I don't know if I have what it takes, then we should listen to the words of St. Paul in our second reading today, when the Lord told him, "My grace is sufficient for you, and power is made perfect in weakness." Power is made perfect in weakness. And so when we are weak, it is then that we are strong, and when the grace of Christ works through us. So let's commit today to be someone else, and help reach family members that have strayed from the faith, and bring them back to honor Jesus, and to give them what they truly deserve and what they truly desire.